Little did the East German family know, over 400,000 kilometers in the vast space above arrived Vispan's new starship fleet, all weapons pointed in the direction of planet Earth. Commander Kachow was determined to bring about the extinction of the human race. Launching the first of its hydrothermal helium fusion missiles, all of Europe was due to dissipate in seconds upon impact. However, unbeknownst to the commander, moments before the missile struck the surface of the planet, Owen, using his immense intellect, sensed the missile approaching and sprinted towards his room. Digging in his closet, he rummaged desperately for something. "Owen? What is the issue?" His mother giggled. Owen screamed, "Where is my super suit?" He desperately rummaged through his backpack, and his hand hit something hard. "Ouch! That was painful," said Erica. "What? Erica? What are you doing in my backpack?" Owen gasped. "No, nothing," Erica anxiously replied. Then the first missile hit, only 20 kilometers from their household. The blast of heat immediately melted the ground in the vicinity. The explosion, shifting the very core of the Eurasian plate. The imminent threat of mass destruction spurred Owen's search for his supersuit, and Owen dove under his bed, grabbing the suit and ripping off his clothes in a single, rash yank in front of Erica. "Oh my goodness. Owen, I thought it'd be a little bit bigger," Erica exclaimed. Owen ignored her, "Stupid bitch," and slid his body into the super suit, immediately leaving his family behind and leaping over the Berlin Wall in a single jump. At this point, he only had milliseconds before the heat wave, along with the fallout, would sweep over all of Germany, but he already caught onto her scent. Anna. With a second mighty leap, his body ignored all physical obstacles, the atoms of the universe yielding to his presence. Even aerial friction seemed to be non-existent as he blasted forward with sheer force of mind, amplified by his supersuit. Unfortunately, mid-air, he could detect another smell. One so putrid, one he recognized a little too well. "Dick. Chad's dick," he muttered under his breath. Anna was with another man. He halted, as well as the earth around him. With renewed purpose, he entered hyperdrive in near light speed, but he felt resistance around his lower body. With a brief glance at his boxers, he realized that Erica had a tight grip around his right testicle. She screamed in delight as she buried her head into his anal orifice, spoiling herself with the juices of the bung. This was unexpected. This very quickly decreased Owen's IQ by 70%, thus lowering it to a mere 140, and he lost the ability to freeze time. Crashing back onto the third-dimensional plane, he was met with a pleasant surprise. Or a disappointing one. Inches away was Anna, taking a shit with her pal Chad. It had turned out they were not having sex, rather, Chad was helping Anna pull out a massive shit from her anus which had been stuck there for weeks. The smell was able to radiate waves of electromagnetic energy at levels up to 500 times more powerful than the sun, effectively shielding them from the blast of the hydrothermal helium fusion missile. Now only 350,000 kilometers away, a large beep echoed across the pilot chamber, alerting Commander Kachow of a disruption in his plans for earthly domination. A young 17-year-old, by the name of Erwin Sitt, had manipulated the facolodas of his soulmate Anna to shield most of Germany from the bomb. Since the shielding had covered the epicenter of the bomb, most of the energy was absorbed by Erwin's colossal brain, mostly saving even the unshielded areas of Europe. Consequently, Erwin had leapt forward into the space-time continuum, aging him by 1 full year, and the radiation had induced a second puberty, growing his dong tenfold to a full 5 inches. Kachow was not prepared for defeat. Nor was he prepared for the untimely event soon to follow. Thermal imaging displayed a magnified image of Erwin's now visible cock. Staring right into his own eyes, as if it were peering into his non-existent soul. Erwin smiled, as well as his cock, and teleported behind Kachow in the blink of a second. PSSSHH. Nothing personnel, kid, Erwin monologued as he thrusted into Kachow. As Erwin's lips embraced Kachow's ass buns, his tongue darted to the crevice where his cyst and hemorrhoid met. He explored the area, moistening with his saliva. As Erwin sucked on the commander's growth, His teeth gently presses down, causing the pustule to erupt his hidden goodness into his mouth. Erwin's tongue embraces the commander's creamy discharge, and revels in the flavors flooding Erwin's mouth, reluctantly swallowing, wishing the moment could last forever. Quite frankly, Kachow was flabbergasted, in a pleasant sense, particularly. Females of his race had an unprecedented lack of libido, and couldn't keep up with his godly stamina. Yearning for more, it becomes the commander's turn to take charge of the situation. He positions Erwin, who happily complies, in front of him. Kachow feels the throbbing rod past his tonsils and down his throat, the entirety of the boy genius manliness inside of him. "Oh, Commander!" Jimmy Neutron's long-lost brother moaned in delight. "Please, call me Kachow," the Space Fleet commander tried to voice his words, though it was challenging with such a sizable shaft in his mouth. Erica doesn't know what she's missing out on. As Erwin's body touches the commander's lips, the commander becomes aware of something else, equally as tantalizing as the rod. He is already embracing a lump of goodness. It slides again under his teeth. But Kachow must be careful, in order not to bring forth the hidden wonders of the lump, without damaging the young man's precious shaft. And the commander must work quickly, in order to draw another breath. Carefully, the commander manipulates the lump with his upper lips and teeth. After what feels an eternity, he finds a position where he can apply the necessary pressure. At any moment, release will occur. It is at this point that Kachow was treated to a delight only a lucky few can imagine. Right as Erwin's manliness erupted in the alien's throat, the cyst bursts forth into the commander's mouth. Overwhelmed by all of Erwin's essences, Kachow was flooded with creamy goodness. "I want to cherish being marinated for all of eternity, but I must come up for air," the commander begs. As he does, the two essences mix into a delight of flavor. Erwin's essence combines with his hidden cystic delight. The commander lays back and takes a much-needed deep breath, wondering if he would ever again experience such pure bliss. Meanwhile, on the ground, scientists of the DDR were observing the battle from the East Berlin Observatory. "Okay, this is epic," the head astronomer giggled. One liberal snowflake was watching, angry that his alien allies had been neutralized by one young man and his masterful ass-eating. Taking a picture, he said to himself, "Snap. This is going in my cringe Kimpler." Before he could finish his sentence, the head astronomer approached him and smashed his camera onto the floor. "Nane!" the traitorous scientist screamed, launching himself at the muscular head scientist. The head scientist sidestepped and lunged for the off-balance traitor knee first, knocking him unconscious. "When you troll a libtard epic style," the head scientist exclaimed triumphantly, much to the joy of his fellow scientists. The traitor moaned in pain, to which the head scientist proceeded to extract his testicular juices with the use of just his hands. The head scientist was content. The end. Epilogue. The scientists located in top-secret DDR facility were able to use advanced radar imagery to plot the magnificent sex act of Erwin and the Vispan commander, forever etched into the history of mankind. To this day, they attempt to recreate the wonderful sensations, only to fail numerous times. Unfortunately, with the Vispan fleet leaving after Erwin sufficiently pleasured all of the crew, there was no way to bring forth the experience without finding the Vispanians again. Erwin's sit was also unable to be found, with only a final transmission that may suggest the cause of his probable death. "Erwin Kun," Kachow stuttered, I have something to tell you." Erwin felt his length begin to harden. "What is it? Come and excuse me, Kachow." He shuddered, crossing his alien tentacles into a multi-threaded pretzel, and inhaled deeply. "I'm into Erwin's stality." Erwin couldn't repress his lust any longer. His earthly 80-year lifespan was far too short for him not to act on his primal urges. Whipping out his engorged length once more, the boy genius began to drool over the commander's form, now being stripped of its pesky clothing by his own free will. He viciously enters Kachow's shitter, and his alien udders become stiff. "Oh, Erica!" the intergalactic life form moans. A pause, absolute silence rang throughout the room. "What the fuck did you just say, B.E.H.? Erwin? I didn't mean it, I swear." But there was no stopping him now. Dripping with lust and pre-cum, Erwin squirms and wiggles into Kakow's behind like an insect to a flower. Clenching his body from the pain, the commander hears a sharp, wincing snap permeate throughout the air. Turning around in horror, he realizes what he had done. Human innards dripped from his cavernous scrapper, and Erwin was still. I'm sorry. //o_o// I didn't mean to. A sniff. Why, Erwin Kun, why? Why? I loved you. You were the only one who cared for me. The only one who didn't drink and beat and hurt me. Erwin. Erwin. He sobs and sobs over Erwin's lifeless corpse. Though his brain remained intact, his entire lower section had been completely obliterated by the tightenings of the alien anus. Suddenly, a flash of light, Erwin's eyes twitching softly. The body began to move once more. Lifting his head up high, what could be blood or semen or tears in his eyes, Erwin coughs and gasps into the air. How's that for Basinger? And he remained still once more. Transmission end. After East Germany broadcasted their recording of the Erwin kachow phenomenon to the entire world, both the United States and the Soviet Union competed to reach outer space first, both wanting to claim the Vespanian sex gods for themselves. The space race had officially begun. Years later, in July of 1969, the United States managed to land human astronauts on the moon, marking a big milestone in the race for the Vespan. Upon learning that they were pioneers in the field of Vespanian sex, astronaut Neil Armstrong was quoted saying this: "One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Man, one giant leap for mankind. Man,